Hi, welcome back to Roundtable Radio. This is your host, William Mengwasser, and this week I'm going to be talking, welcome back to Meng segment, and this week I'm going to be talking about um, one of my new favorite games online on my computer that I've been just playing a ton recently, and I think is really, really fun. So the game is called GeoGuessr, and the purpose of the game is to. So the game is called GeoGuessr. And so the base, the base version of the game, is um, you load in, or sorry, you start a game, and then the game gives you a random place in the world, and you're supposed to try and guess, like pinpoint where that location is. And you can move around, you can zoom in. But yeah, your point of game is to try to get as many points as you can by getting as close to your destination that they show as possible. Um, like but and they have and so yeah, that's like the main game mode, and then there's tons of others where you can just do like different maps, like the normal ones, like the entire world. You can do it where it's just America, or you can do it where it's like famous places and stuff like that. Um, but one of their most successful game modes by far, and like what attracts most players, is definitely the Battle Royale mode, which is basically so you load into a lobby with like 9 other people. There's 10 in all. And then the game gives you a random location in the world. But now this game mode's a little different, because in the normal mode you're supposed to try to pinpoint exactly where it is, but in Battle Royale you just really have to guess what country it's in. Um, and so there's different rounds, and so the last person to guess the correct country every round is eliminated. Um, but also, like, multiple people can get eliminated if because you only have 3 lives to guess the country at each round. So if you use up all 3 lives, you can be eliminated. So that's another way to get eliminated. Yeah, the main goal of that game is the one I play most, Battle Royale, is to become obviously first place. And yeah, it's pretty hard. I feel like I've become pretty good at it, considering um, it is difficult. Like a lot of countries seem the same. So yeah, I guess I'll explain now, like how I play the game. Um, I'm really good at. I've learned a lot of tips and tricks, like what to look for and stuff. But I'm good at definitely the West or East Asia. Sorry, like the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, like Laos, Bangladesh. Those countries are what I'm really good at, and those are pretty common. There can be a lot of obscure countries in there, like Bhutan and stuff like that, which makes it more interesting and fun, like Madagascar even. But yeah, I'm also really good at Africa. I like trying to guess the African countries, because there are slight differences in each one. Like some are more tropical than the others, some are more desert-like, some are more mountainous. So it's fun, like, to try to tell the difference. And you can if you play the game a lot, it is pretty easy. Not easy, but you can get a lot better at deciphering what country it is. Um, by far the hardest spot in the game to guess is either South America is pretty hard, but mountains usually give most of that away. But I think definitely the hardest part to guess is definitely Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe really, like Western Europe, you have like England, France, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Spain, Portugal. Like, because those languages um are usually like all distinct to like their own countries, it is fairly easy, and you can tell like what side of the road you're driving on for England and Ireland, and like obviously Spain is Spanish, Portuguese is Portugal is Portuguese. Like it's pretty. Those ones are pretty simple. Eastern Europe is very very hard, especially like mid Eastern Europe, like around like Bulgaria, Hungary, Romania, Czech Republic, Serbia, Slovenia. Those ones are all really hard because they all look so similar. Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. They all just look so similar, and like the languages are dispersed across different countries that it can be very hard to guess. So that's definitely where I think a majority of the people struggle the most. Northern Europe's pretty easy, like Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Iceland. Like they all seem very similar, but when you learn the game, there are definitely tricks to figuring out which one's which. Um, but yeah, Southern Europe is also very. Southern Europe, I think, is pretty easy. Italy is pretty easy, very easy to recognize because of the language and like the surround, like the buildings and like like the topography and stuff. Um, Also, like Greece is usually pretty easy to get, and I've even become good at North Macedonia is easy. North Macedonia is pretty good. Albania, Croatia, just all very similar, like mountainous, near the water type countries. Like in that Mediterranean Sea, like very nice clear water with the mountains. It's usually around that area. Um, so yeah, uh, so there are a lot of countries in it, like, yeah, it seems really hard because there's so many countries, but really, so many privacy laws restrict the use of like Google or yeah, Google Images or Google Earth. Sorry. So a lot of countries are not even like participating in this game. So it is still like it does definitely lower like that's what makes it. That's what makes Africa and South America just a ton easier because there are countries that are somewhat like eliminated from the rotation of what you can get. Like in Africa, like all mainland country like most countries are eliminated except for like all countries in Africa are eliminated except for like I think like seven like South Africa, Lesotho, Eswatini or Swaziland, um, Botswana, Uganda, uh, Kenya, Ghana, uh, Senegal, and Tunisia. That's it. That's only like eight or so. I'm really counting, but um, so yeah, you and there's tricks for all of them. They're very different, so it's pretty easy to tell that. Um, but yeah, South America also like most South American countries are in it, but Central America there are very few. I think really only Costa Rica and like Guatemala maybe. And then um, there's a couple in northern South America. I don't really know the names of the countries that are also not in it. Paraguay isn't in it. I know that, but South America is also pretty eliminated. So that one's usually can make it easier. India's not in it. China's not in it. Obviously, North Korea's obviously not in it. Uh, but yeah, um, America is in it and all that. Canada and those ones are usually easy to guess. But because of these eliminations and like what can happen, that's what makes Europe so hard. I think only two countries in all of Europe are not in the game. That's Belarus and Bosnia, and so which makes it like tons hard because almost every country can be guessed, which just makes it really really hard. But that's part of the fun. So I play probably I probably play it every day just because I do it in my free time in class, or I play a lot during lunch with my friends, and it's just really fun because it can get intense, and it's really satisfying when you're able to guess like a good country or a hard country. And I think also like it's not like other games. Like you're not like I'm actually learning stuff. I'm learning about like what these countries look like, their flags and stuff like that. So it feels like I'm also learning as I play, which is really fun. So yeah, that was my podcast over the game. One of my new favorite games on the computer, called GeoGuessr. And yeah, you've been listening to Meng segment. I'm Mengwasser, and this has been Roundtable Radio. Thank you and peace.